Well, we're getting closer to shooting my interview on Chosen Family, and I have been going through some real tumultuous feelings and thoughts inside my head. I'm really scared of hurting anybody's feelings. The whole implied term of chosen to me also indicates that people are not. There's others that aren't chosen. I am really big on inclusion, and so I kind of feel at odds about this because it's only out of feeling excluded that I went to seek out people that I feel included with.
Have the grace to keep on moving on at a pace that's right where you belong. In the face of all that's going on, you don't have to run that race. In the time where the chaos seems too much, oppressed don't even seem to touch. The waning hearts too tired to show their face. Have the grace.
I miss her a lot right now. It's really hard because we're at a point in our relationship where I'm asking hard things of her.
Hi, I'm Lynn Moran, and this is my dog, Izzy. I'm Kyler Sahlmark's mother.
And then I'm now doing hard things, like not going over. Which is hard for me because I feel really guilty about that. It's coming up to Christmas time, which is a time we historically spent a lot of time together. She'd gone through some divorces, and at one time we were the only ones together at Christmas.
When Kyler invited me to take part in the film, I felt I was being asked to walk through a minefield. These have been trying and sometimes very sad years. Therefore, it's with a great deal of trepidation I agreed. I'm convinced that it is important to share what I believe to be some very important points.
I'd swore I'd never spend another Christmas without her, because she's what makes Christmas, and the celebration of love. And I still want to celebrate love, and so I'm at odds.
The first point that I want to clarify is that I want Kyler, my youngest child, in my life. I love her and will strive to maintain a relationship.
I am asking my mom to see me in a different way and to address me in a different way, that her something is not allowing her to do it, and it makes her feel like a sin. And I respect what she's saying, but I also know that that's what's stopping me from going to see her, because there's nothing about me that is a sin.
I don't use the masculine pronoun referring to Kyler, as I feel that is saying God made a mistake. I do not believe that God makes mistakes. He has a plan for each of us.
And as somebody that has made me, it's challenging to feel like she'd rather hold on to her thoughts, which she's going to call faith, versus on to me that she made. And I still really love her. And I'm learning how to really love myself as much. And so it's difficult.
I'm aware that Kyler feels that I have not been supportive of her decision made. In part, that is true, as I worry about the consequences of hormonal treatment, her safety, etc. But the larger part is that I have loved and opened my arms to her, even while maintaining the integrity of my belief. I'm confident that we both recognize our love for each other. We don't always like each other. We both struggle to respect the other and make sure that our actions match our words. It is an ongoing journey where integrity and respect have to play a big role.
We're still going to get to celebrate love in a different way. And we've invited a bunch of people to our family Christmas on the 24th, of people that, like myself, are having some challenges with their family.
My name is Anne Ramey, and Kyler is my uncle. Kyler wasn't around a lot early in my life because I grew up a Jehovah's Witness. And for those who aren't familiar with the religion, they're very restrictive on their views of what is acceptable ways to live and not. And so from very early on, my parents told me, Kyler exists. We know about him. You're allowed to know about him too, but we only need to love him from a distance because he is living in sin and we're not allowed to be around him.
I love my biological family. I have an amazing family. There are so many brilliant people in my cluster, in my clan, and it's really hard for me to talk about this.
Growing up a Jehovah's Witness, I definitely had a lot of these beliefs instilled in me. A lot of judgment, a lot of shame, a lot of this is the only way to be a good and righteous person.
I actually didn't have any best friends till I was 13. And I was bullied a lot at school because I had no self-esteem. I think I was a pretty easy target. And I was hiding under a desk at the library, and my longest best friend showed up under the table and asked me what I was doing. And I was so scared, and she had these bright, brilliant eyes, and she was so accepting and so kind, and that was the first time I felt seen at that time. And she's been a solid best friend ever since that time. And they're also, her and another friend of mine were the first ones that said, you know what, your family is not around here. They're not here supporting you. We're here with you. You can trust us. And so I did.
So, I decided I needed to leave the church. I came to the conclusion that I was not in a religion based on love. And if there is a God, and if he is the Father of love and we are all his children, this is not what he wants. And so I left the church shortly before my 19th birthday.
And so I have chosen family. I have so many hands behind my back right now, really encourage me to do this. It is such a blessing, and it's a miracle, and I feel ecstatic in my heart, feeling so many people supporting me to do this, just be a face of it, and let you know this is real people.
When Kyler and Yanti reached out to make efforts to bring me close again, it caused a huge mess. And I found out that my family was holding out hope that I would be so lonely that I would come back to their Christmases and back to their holidays and stop putting up boundaries. And Kyler came in and foiled their plans.
Chosen family is still family.
We choose.
The family that steps up for you when yours fails.
Judgment free.
Judgment free.
Just where you feel accepted for all of yourself. You don't have to tuck any parts of yourself away
You're
to
comfortable
feel
enough
a sense of belonging.
Freedom.
That's huge. You don't have to tuck anything away. You don't have to hide any part of yourself.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
I met Kyler again through his partner Yanti, and something that I noticed about Kyler right away was his heart.
Nice. You're just randomly shoveling people's sidewalks here?
I loved his heart. He's very generous in the ways that he showed up in the world and with his love. I noticed his integrity. That's always something that I look for in connections, especially friend connections.
I first met Kyler many, many years ago. I was a young gay boy that didn't know much about cars, and my car was having problems, so I had to take it into Midas to get fixed. And Kyler was there and really helped me understand what was happening with my car, and he broke everything down into terms that made sense to me. Being a very inexperienced car person myself, that was really, I was grateful for that in that moment.
I remember having a conversation with Kyler. I believe he and Yanti came to one of the shows that I was in at Tempest. And I remember him telling me that he wanted to one day be a part of Tempest, take a workshop or something.
Flash forward probably 10 years, or if not more, I met Kyler again through Tempest, and we've been training together there pretty much ever since. So really grateful for the friendship that I have with Kyler and being able to see him grow into this amazing, incredible person.
Oh, hi. Hello. Hi. Do you want to be a part of the chosen family?
Our new ally. Thank you for being here with us.
Hi.
You're so cute. Hey. Oh. Chosen family, yay. Chosen family, right here. This is amazing. We're good.
I think it's really important that we clarify that just because there's chosen family doesn't mean we exclude blood family. The difference really for myself is the level of acceptance and what I can show with my chosen family and how much I feel I belong.
There's something really powerful about people who choose to make you part of your family and accept you with no obligation. Because family is supposed to help you, but when they don't, you're lost. And so the people who step up and take their place out of just love, it's infinitely meaningful.
You got it?
Just about lost it.
Sound Speedy?
When you know better, and do the best you can until you know better. And when you know better, do better.
My name is Moon, and I am sharing about my experience within my biological family. And one of the things that is sticking out to me is around my relationship with my mom. And I feel tenderness in speaking about her. It was really hard for her that I was queer. And I remember so distinctly when I came out that we were talking on the phone and she had to leave the conversation. And I believe that she hung up on me, and I could tell that she couldn't hold any more of the conversation.
I grew up in Okanagan Falls, British Columbia. I grew up on a road named after my family on McLean Creek Road. My family has been there for a very, very long time. My great-great-great-grandfather, Roderick William McLean, came here from Scotland, and he married Chief Francois's firstborn daughter, Crendela, also known as Yellow Dress. And that is where my immensely proud Indigenous side comes from.
And so that was hard on our relationship. And I remember wanting to be accepted for the beautiful being that I am as a queer person, and not feeling that is eventually coming to the understanding and having compassion for her and having dialogue about what happened for her, and her being able to share about the dream that she had for me of who I would be. She didn't check in to see if that was my dream. And I think that's a common thing with parents, you know? We don't get to choose who our kids are. and we don't get to choose who they're going to become.
One of my grandma's siblings was Kenny McLean. He is considered by many to be the greatest Canadian cowboy of all time. He was a 14-time world champion. He was in the BC Sports Hall of Fame, the only cowboy to ever be inducted into that Hall of Fame. He's in the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame. He's in the Canadian Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame. He's in the Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum in Oklahoma City. He received the Order of Canada, and he's also the only cowboy to ever receive that award as well. So being a McLean was always a very big deal. When I was about 10 or 11, my cousin who lived up the road from me at the time was having a team roping jackpot at his arena there. And I went down to watch it and started to become very interested. I really wanted to do that. And I told my parents, like, I want to learn how to do that. And they were very, very excited by that. And I started in the Little Britches circuit. And by the time I was in my last year of Little Britches, I had won my first 8 buckles. And when I was finished Little Britches, I moved into the high school rodeo circuit. Kenny taught me a lot of things that I know as well before he passed away. In 2005, I was the Canadian team roping champion for high school rodeo. I was also the season tie-down roping champion as well. I was a member of the All-Star Rodeo team, the Wrangler All-Star Rodeo team for 2 years in a row. I qualified for the National High School Rodeo Finals 2 years in a row. That is one of the biggest rodeos in the world. That year I competed, there was roughly 3,800 contestants. And I actually won the first performance in tie-down roping. When I finished high school rodeo, I actually received a full ride scholarship to a college in Texas. I was 17, and I was also really struggling with my sexuality and my identity, and how do I move through this? Where is this supposed to end up? How does this work? Because I grew up in an environment where being gay was not okay.
I've had to be so vocal about who I am continuously, and I continue to be. And, you know, for a long time in my family, I didn't feel respected. And in families, there's a lot of rules. There can be a lot of rules about how we behave and who we are and what we can show and what needs to be tucked away so that other people can feel more comfortable. And I wasn't willing to be small in my family.
Texas took a very dark turn for me. I felt very trapped. I felt unheard. I felt desperate. I put myself into the hospital for a week. And my dad flew down right away and walked into the hospital room and just burst into tears. I had a lot of expectations put on me and a lot of dreams and ideas of who I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to achieve. And while this was all happening, I was also starting to discover who I was. And I remember being bullied and being called gay and not even knowing what that meant. I didn't even know what that meant. And I had to find that answer using the internet.
If my family didn't choose to meet me with care and respect for who I am, I would not have stayed.
I used to just say to my mom, like, why would I choose this? And my dad would say, like, I don't understand what this means, but it doesn't mean I don't love you. And it really came down to a moment of, I'm gonna pack my stuff and I'm gonna leave because I can't do this. And it was like a switch went off. They immediately were in my corner with my sisters.
My family chose to continue to meet me and is currently choosing to continue to meet me. Had they not, I would not have stayed. I continue to be vocal in my family about who I am. And my mom has shown me such great strength and has shown up for me today in ways that I never believed that she could.
One of my favorite stories about my parents, I actually wasn't there, but my younger sister went on a trip to Mexico with them. And they were staying with some family friends in a community down there. And a bunch of the people from the community went out for dinner one night. And this one guy there was speaking off his opinion about how you should round up all the gay people and put them on an island and sink it into the ocean. And my sister, being the person she is, was ready to throw punches or her plate at this guy. And she looked at my parents and they just looked at each other and put down their cutlery and got up and walked away. And my sister was like, oh, okay, I guess we're leaving. And she was like, why aren't we confronting this guy? Like, this is not okay. And my dad said, you can't reason with a drunk person. We'll deal with this tomorrow. And the next morning, he sat on the front porch, drank his coffee and waited for that guy to come out his front door. And the second that he did, he walked right up to him. And he said, our son is gay. And he's the best thing that's ever happened to us. And you should be more careful what you say in front of who.
Isn't that funny? That it's chosen family that we feel so inclined that we can grow in all of our parts of ourselves, but we have to be away from blood family to do that because they hold you to their memory of who you were instead of allowing just whatever you want to become. I'm not saying that all families are like that, but I think that's the big difference. The challenge of the film, of doing this film and talking with my mom, definitely exacerbated some challenges in the family. There's some people in my family that are not willing to do the work to be together. And I can't do their work. And so I had a short conversation with my mom. We didn't talk for about 3 weeks. And then I called her up and we had a lot of emails back and forth at this time and trying to resolve conflict. And when I called my mom on the 23rd and said, hey, you know, we should really try to make some plans about exchanging gifts. And she said, well, you told me you dropped out of Christmas with us and the Secret Santa. I said, well, yes, it just doesn't feel like it's very conducive to what's going on in our family right now. Certain people aren't getting along. It seems like it would be better not to have a long period of time. And my mom said, well, I think it's better if you don't come. And you should just put those gifts away for another time.
I think the first decision you have to make is, do you want this person in your life? If you do, then how do you find a road that you can both walk down? And love them. That's our job as parents, just to love them.
I think so often in our lives, we give up pieces of ourselves to keep the peace, to be with the people we love because we want the love, but that's not love. Love is the acceptance. And it has to start with me, and that's the blessing of being trans, is learning to love me first.